everyone. Today I'm going to talk about how I plan to make my second $1 million and build my personal empire so that eventually I won't ever really have to ask a bank because I will be my own bank. I am able to talk about this because theoretically, according to calculators and the things that I've done financially, I will have already made my first $1 million by the time I'm 65 and hopefully ready to retire. And that's because my first 10 years of my working career, I focused on being financially secure. And I did that because of two things. Number one, ability, and number two, freedom. Ability in the sense that it feels good to be able to do certain things. Like the great lyricist Tupac said, love paying rent when the rent is due. And that is something that comes from having a pride and being able to do something with purpose on this earth, but also being able to take care of yourself. And for most people, their biggest expense is taking care of the roof over the head. And the second one for freedom was that I genuinely like to do things on my own terms. I do like to work. So when I got out of college and went to work, it was fun. But I knew that it was going to be, unfortunately for me, someone who likes to do things and who's a free bird, I would have to do things on other people's terms. And I had just come from 8 years, almost 10 years of education in college. And college is a time where you get to do things on your own term. You do have a goal, but it's on your own terms. And that's how I kind of want the rest of my life to be done. Like I have a goal of making money and having a purpose in this world, but it's on my own terms, right? Because doesn't God give us our own terms and he gives us a purpose? So I didn't want to go back to something like that. And those two things of ability and freedom, those first 10 years, 11-ish years were marked by a lot of sacrifice. Emphasis on sacrifice because, my work schedule was abominable. Like I worked 12-hour shifts multiple days a week and was exhausted the rest of the week, right? And then the other sacrifice was I didn't have as much fun. I was making big baller money. I could have got the BMW. I could have got the penthouse downtown in Brickell or downtown Fort Lauderdale, but that didn't align with my values. So, sacrifice requires something. Sorry, that's me. See my cat playing with my feet. Anyway, by the way, my name is Elise, and on this side of the internet, in my little corner, I like to talk about all things financial wellness. And if you like that topic and it's your jam, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. And also, please like this video because it shares it to other people who like to talk about these kind of things as well. So that amount of sacrifice did get me the basics, which is I have a home base, thank God, in South Florida, which is a blessing. I do have a retirement fund that is growing on its own. And as of recently, I have a brokerage account that is focused on mostly dividends, some growth, but that is something on the journey of me growing. So that leads me to feel like I am a little bit more well-rounded on the front to make that first $1 million. But the second $1 million leads me to my other aspirations, which is having businesses, having more real estate, and even having more stock. But those aspirations require a lot of capital. And based on how I've transitioned out from my last job to this job, it doesn't allow me to build a lot of capital because I do not make as much money as I used to. And the thought of being pressured, and the pressure's all on myself, but pressure myself to be that business owner, get the real estate empire, was stressing me out. And I left that last job because it was stressful. With a lot of money comes a lot of responsibility, and with a lot of responsibility comes stress. And I opted out of that world a long time ago, going on 2 years, and I don't ever plan on going back. So that means I'm gonna have to change my game plan as far as the other things that I want to do because I'm not willing to stress out as much and markedly, the point that I really want to make is that this next 10, 15 years is not going to be marked by sacrifice. The first one was, but I want an easy life and I want not little to no sacrifice. And I know with little to no sacrifice, you're not going to get the reward. And I say all of that to say is that I am okay with that. This next second $1 million that I do will not be marked by sacrifice. I have learned that in order to get those things, I'm going to have to wait a little bit. So these next few years is going to be marked by still trying to have the goals of making a nominal amount of more money. But even that nominal amount is not going to get me the businesses and the real estate. It's generally not. But what it will give me is leisure time, things to make my life easier. It'll give me more money to do facials and massages. It'll give me more money to go out to dinner because I'm a dinner girl, I'm a foodie girl. I love fine dining. I want to have that budget now, which I cut out in my first few years. I want to bring that back. I want to have money for networking events and gaming events like tennis and golf. I want to do those things, which honestly, quiet as it's kept, that may end up helping me make more money, because money is in your network a lot of times and not just you and what you can do. Couple of positions that I've gotten were just from who I knew. My last position, for example, I was talking to a college friend. I was like, oh, I'm looking for a job. I'm going to relocate to so-and-so. And so it's like, oh, I know the district manager. Let me call her. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, you don't have to do that. She called me back. She's like, you have an interview Tuesday. And I think it was like the Thursday before. So that's why I'm saying, like, I am trying to not sacrifice as much, but find more smarter ways instead of harder ways. And back in the day, harder was building the capital, getting the money, and making that work for me. So for real estate, I need capital. For businesses, I need capital. And this is all assuming that I'm not going to be making so much more than I'm making right now, which is honestly somewhat what I prefer. Now, if someone were to give me a $200,000 job and it's low effort, we could talk. But what is the likelihood of that happening, right? But for this capital that I do not have, I have decided that I'm just going to wait it out, because again, doing those calculators, the money and the capital that I need will be there in about 10 to 15 years. And from my real estate, from my brokerage account, I can't really do it for retirement, but from the other two, I can take security-backed loans from that to buy other assets. And that's exactly what I'm planning to do. So does that mean that I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer? Yes, but in the meantime, do I plan, hopefully God-given, to have like an enjoyable life? Also yes. So in order to make that second million, I have decided that I will actually be staying put for the next 15-ish years. Do I plan to make more money? Absolutely. But I'm gonna kill myself to make money? No. What do I plan to do? Enjoy the God-given life that I have and rest and see what flourishes from that. Just be appreciative, do my part always, but I shall be resting, and I will be letting the things that I have grow and enjoying, the time that I have on this green earth. Because buying all the next level stuff is in the plans. It's just not in the plans for my 40s, because then that's going to make my 40s markedly more stressful than I need it to be. And that's a part of what makes personal finance personal, right? Like, you have to decide like where your values lie, and based on where your values lie, that is going to be like how you move. And where my value has always lied in family, the family that I have and the family that I hope to create. And I want to spend time with my family and building that and fortifying that. So that is kind of what I'm thinking right now. Where are y'all at? Do you think that it is a time right now that you see that we should be hustling and bustling, or do you think it's a time where we should not hustle as much and enjoy things? Are you looking to kind of scoop up all the opportunities that are possible, or are you taking it easy, kind of like what I'm planning to do? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next week.